You're listening to the Nintendo Powercast. Here's your hosts, N64 Josh and Destinot. What is happening, people of the Mushroom Kingdom? How's it going? This is episode 22. I honestly don't remember what episode we're on. I forgot to look ahead of time. I am a terrible host. But guys, welcome to the Nintendo Powercast, where we think it's episode 22. We'll figure it out at some point.
We got the pop filter over, so you could just be like, it's episode, and then just like add it in later.
14. Yeah, be good stuff. Yeah, I'm your host, N64 Josh. Got Destinot in the passenger seat, or maybe you're driving. Maybe we're.
Or is it the sidecar? Are we like two-wheeling this?
No, you're driving if it's a motorcycle. It's not safe for me to drive.
Well, we've all seen what happens if I drive a motorcycle.
So, wow. It's been a week, man. It's been a week.
It has. It's been too long because we did that mini show.
Yeah.
Last week, so sorry about that, guys.
Are you feeling any better?
I'm like 90%.
Okay.
So I'm good.
All right.
I can make it through podcast and make it mildly entertaining? ?
Perfect. Mildly is good. Well, guys, we do this live Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, twitch.tv/The Loot Cave, because this podcast is a product of thelootcave.com. So, come hang out with us live. I see iHenny in the chat, a few other people lurking. Thank you guys for being here with us. We know it's late for all you guys that are not in the Pacific time zone. So thank you so much. This has been a good week. We've played a lot of different games, a lot of different Nintendo. I've only played Nintendo games this week. Literally, the Switch in portable mode was the best thing for me this weekend because
I don't believe that.
It was, man. It was all I could do. It's all I could do. I just had to play portable.
Take your word for it.
So
can't do it.
You what? You can't
do it. I'll take your word for it.
Okay. Fair enough. You know how we kind of talk about what we picked up for the week?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. I have one new pickup.
Okay. I think I only have one as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I do have this is a non-game item.
Oh, okay.
I got the Fire Emblem amiibo.
Oh.
Yeah.
You did you pre-order or did you just like try your luck and just drive down there?
No, I got them at Amazon when I was at your house, actually.
Oh, okay. Oh.
That's when I ordered them.
Cool.
Okay. But the packaging came.
They finally released.
Yeah, the packaging was not good. So, thankfully, they still have a bunch in stock at some of the stores near me. So I'm gonna swap out for a better looking case or a better looking package because I just can't have the creases, man. It's got to look good.
It sucks as a collector. Do they fold them like when they package them?
No, but it's just
stuff like that, or it just gets smashed.
I think it was just getting banged around inside the box. So
that sucks.
But I was worried I wouldn't get them because like Best Buy was sold and all that stuff. So, and there's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Alka-Seltzer-Tini in the chat says you broke open a car seat for the love of the game. Now your child walks. LOL. So she's not entirely wrong here. This is actually a true story. So, my kids have been playing DS for a very long time. And they were, the son that played it the most is 14 now. He hasn't been in a car seat for a very long time. My youngest daughter is no longer in a car seat. She's 9. And so we have these, they're more like booster seats so that the seatbelt doesn't choke them or whatever. Well, these kids would basically, I think what would happen is they had cup holders that would pull out. And then they would drop their DS games in it, close the cup holder, and when we would go to move the car seat, if it got turned upside down, well, then it would slide into the body of this car seat, and it was forever gone. It was like sticking something into the mailbox on the street corner, and you can't get it out after that. It's game over. So we could hear stuff rattling around, and my wife and I were both fairly certain that there were DS games rattling inside these car seats. Well, lo and behold, The first one I grab is my son's, and I take my framing hammer and I start smashing this car seat and eventually rip a hole open. And when I get the hole open, the first thing I see was Diddy Kong Racing for the DS.
Score.
Yeah, that was definitely a score. I kept shaking the car seat though, and I heard another one. Out pops Transformers DS game, the Decepticon version of whatever game this is. So I text him, I'm like, hey, I just found some of my games in your car seat. And he's like, oh, I love those ones. Those are sweet. So then I grabbed my daughter's car seat. And there's so much stuff shaking in this thing. I don't even know what I'm going to find. It's out of control. And I still have one more of these car seats to find. I think it's at my mom's house. I gotta rip into it as well. When I got hers open, not one, not two, but 3 DS games inside this car seat, plus some random like walnut. I was like, how do you do
She's
this?
like, my lucky walnut. Thanks, Dad.
How is this humanly possible? So, pro tip for all you parents that are listening, if your kids use the booster seats with the cup holders that pull out and they play DS, be careful not to throw those seats out before you check to make sure there's games in them. So, yeah. So that was pretty. Those were my pickups. I did get a game. Got Street Fighter 2, and we're gonna get into that at length. But what about you, my friend? Any games for you this week?
The only thing I did pick up was Street Fighter 2. That was my only purchase. I haven't picked up many, and I even missed the test punch. I didn't touch a single match.
Are you serious?
Not a single one. Yeah, I was pretty sick this weekend, and I went to my parents a couple times, and my times like just didn't match up.
Oh,
the only one that I was gonna possibly be able to do, I believe, was on Sunday. But I was already planning. I'm like, I'm gonna leave the house early. I probably won't even be here for the 11 o'clock time. And then like I ended up getting sidetracked. And then I'm like, okay, I really have to go now. What time is it? It was 11 o'clock. And I'm like, I could jump in real quick, or I could be an adult. Adulting won out, unfortunately. Again, I was sick. I wasn't thinking straight. So yeah, I downloaded it though.
Adulting went out.
I downloaded it. I downloaded the test punch. It's on my Switch.
So next weekend you'll be going strong.
Did they extend it? Is it next weekend?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think it is. Are you sure? Okay. Well, maybe I'll play next weekend.
Let me look right now. I have it right here in front of me. So
okay. I was pretty sure this was the last weekend, but I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong.
No, June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So 5 p.m. on Friday, 5 a.m., 11, and 5 p.m. These are all Pacific times on Saturday, 5 a.m. and 11 a.m. Sunday.
Okay, so I have a little bit of time.
Yeah, you have some time.
So
and you need to play it, man. Like, I pretty much, my wife, my daughters, and myself all played it. My boys were gone for most of the weekend, but my son, who has a Switch, he downloaded it as well. My daughters loved it. They were like, wow, this is really fun. Especially my youngest. She gets really hyped about all these Nintendo games, Splatoon, ARMS. The older one, she played it, but she was a little more reluctant. My wife was like, this is pretty fun. She enjoyed it. You can do it. There's a volleyball game mode, which is pretty cool, where you basically just try to punch the ball. And
I watched that. That didn't exactly blow my skirt up.
Yeah, it's actually kind of fun. Like, but again, playing with my daughter or with my wife or whatever, that definitely made it more fun. So the probably the weirdest thing was the three for all, where it was like you literally would just like sit back and watch two people fight, and then you'd just kind of throw in the random punch here and there,
jump in at the end and take the victory.
Yeah, basically. So, but I mean, overall, the more I played the game, the more I really liked it, and I feel like it's one of those games that it's kind of what I think it's somewhat what we expected. Now, obviously, we're just basing this off a beta, so I don't like to make that definitive decision about a game based on the beta. But the more I played it, the deeper it felt, getting an understanding of the controls. And I do want to say, for the first time ever, I feel like Nintendo nailed it with the motion controls. I feel like it's really, really well done. And that's the only way my daughter wanted to play, was with the motion controls. The only thing, I didn't take the time to like really figure out what all the buttons did, because the way you're holding the Joy-Cons, it's a little different than any of the other games when you're like, because like snipper clips or whatever, you're just playing it sideways like a regular controller, right? But this, you're like you're holding it like you're trying to punch with it, basically. And so it worked well, though. For the little bit that I played, it worked really well, and I really enjoyed it. So now, does that mean I would play the motion controls all the time? No. But having some people over to kind of like, just show them the game or whatever, it might be pretty fun. So probably a purchase. I know. That's what I say about all the Nintendo games. But
was that even a question?
Well, we did decide it would probably just be one copy. But then my son comes home and he's like, "I loved ARMS. It's so fun. I really loved it." I was like, "Really?" So, I was surprised to see their reactions from it, because, I mean, I don't know. My kids especially, they like stuff like Minecraft, but like him, he's a lot of Destiny, Call of Duty, that kind of stuff. He's been playing a lot of Siege recently. But he comes home and he's just like, "This ARMS game is so rad." I'm like, "Okay, awesome." So, and I think depending on how they do it, since we have 2 Switches, if we can end up doing 4 players or something, that may end up being a viable option for us as well. But from what I played, I'm enjoying it. I think the game's only going to get better as they show us more modes, more characters, and like you said, even though the volleyball like didn't excite you too much, actually playing it was kind of fun, because it was a change of pace from just the just fighting each other. And so just something that's kind of simple like that was kind of fun. And there was actually like that whole hot potato feeling to it too, with the timer going down on it.
Yeah.
So it was it was enjoyable. It was I was surprised by it when I saw that mode and then played it. I was like, "Oh, I like this." It's a little bit of change of pace from just from just beating them up. But I'm anticipating seeing some real high end play and being like, "Wow, how are these people this good at this game?" And because there's a lot to it, you can jump and then dodge out of the way and then punch, and you can control how your punch goes and the distance, and trying to get grabs in, and trying to intentionally hit someone else's arm when they throw the punch, so you can knock their arm, like, so it doesn't work for a few seconds. There's going to be a lot of depth to it, I think. And so definitely want to try next weekend. It's a bummer we can't easily just jump in and play together, because that would be fun, but
that'd be too easy.
Right. So
yeah.
But it sounds like you watched a few people playing it.
I did. I watched you play, like you said, there's that mode, the kind of the hot potato / volleyball. I saw that. Like I said, I wasn't really blown away by that. I do have a question about that. Were those modes random, or did you select them?
Everything in the beta was random. So you didn't know if you were going to get a 3-for-all, or they would do like a 2v2 where you were tied to the other character, like your partner. Sometimes you get a 1v1. It was really completely random. You had no idea.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's just a mode. Like, oh, you want the, kind of like free for all modes where it's anything. You just jump in and it just rotates through the modes. Because like, if I want to play like 1v1 and nothing but, that's what I would want to play. So it'll be interesting to see if they have multiple modes. Like, oh, you want to do just 1v1? You want to do just 2v2s? You want to do, or is it literally just going to have one mode and that's every mode? So we'll see. We'll see about that. I guess we don't know on that yet. But like I said, watching that volleyball thing, whatever. The one that I thought was really cool because is there 4v4?
I think honestly,
Or was it just the threes?
Well, there was the 2v2, which was very much a, I mean, that was 4 people going at it. I just don't know.
Okay, that's Okay, that's what it was then.
I don't know if there was. I think there was, and I actually just picked up my Switch right now because you can actually see still some of the There's actually a video from Game Explain, so you can actually play this game by going in and changing some like settings.
I saw that.
Yeah, so
He probably just changed the date or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly, but
allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I hope they have the separate modes. So if you want to play one or the other, you can. The ones that I thought were cool. I watched some 1v1 on Twitch, multiple streamers, playing, and you could tell like some people were really getting into it. Some people really had like some moves down, and they were really starting to understand like the character. So that was kind of cool to see people that are, like you said, there's probably going to be some people that really invest in this and get some high level play out of it. So that'll be cool. But I don't know. Overall, I was hyped for this. I'm not like super excited about it though. It wasn't the fighting game that was on my radar.
Sure.
Going into the Switch. So we'll see what happens. As it gets closer to release date, and I don't think it'll be a day one for me. I think it'll be I'll wait for some reviews, and luckily we got things like Twitch now. You can actually see not only just a review, but you can actually see someone who's maybe not some type of pro player, or you can see multiple people playing this and kind of get a little bit more of a feel for it, or a feel for the movement at least. So we'll see though. But it looks interesting, and hopefully it's something that Nintendo can build upon. So I'm sure, being the first game and all, typical Nintendo, I think it'll be very polished, and it'll be very good right out of the box. But we'll see where it goes. Hopefully they do it kind of like what they did Splatoon on the Wii U, where it's like a full year or a full summer of just free updates. I think that could be a really big for this type of game. Like different costumes, different attachments. Because I noticed you can change arms and whatnot.
Yeah, I believe
all that type of updates would be cool. I think
that direct that we both missed.
Mm-hmm.
They did say it's free DLC for arms, like it was with Splatoon.
Cool.
So
yeah, that's a good decision. I mean, it's a new game. Don't start pumping me for DLC until Arms 2.
Right. So I'm just looking at the main menu here. You got Grand Prix, which is win 10 fights.
Okay.
Win 10 fights as a team to become champs. So you can do 2 players or one player with that one. Then you have Versus, which is complete in various modes, all the way up to 4 player. Looks like 4 player on one, possibly on one Switch, which is cool. Party match for up to 2 players. That's what's available online. That's what people were getting thrown into, and it just picks for you what you're doing. Then you have ranked match, friends, and local. So, because I would say for myself that 1v1 was probably my overall favorite mode, which is the same for me with Smash, Street Fighter. Obviously, you can't really do anything other than that. Even on like old school wrestling games where you could do like 4 people, I still just would prefer the 1v1,
the one-on-one,
or a tag team where it was still only 2 people in at a time.
Yeah.
So, again, that's just my preference, but I think that's where we're going to see some really good competitive play. Like I don't doubt it. Actually, I think it's going to be rad. So, but let's talk Street Fighter, man. Unless there's anything else you want to touch on with Arms.
No, just that, I'm kind of just with Arms, I'm kind of waiting on it just to kind of see more.
Yeah.
I think it's a good concept. I think it's going to be cool. Like I said, it's Nintendo, so you're going to get that day one polish and not the wait for us to patch this 5 times and then it's going to be the game that you want it to be.
Right.
And that's something I love about Nintendo. I'm not saying that they haven't patched their games in the past or that they don't make minor updates, but I feel like day one with Nintendo, you're going to get 99% of the experience,
Yeah.
if not 100%. So
without having to install.
yeah, that's so bizarre. But no, yeah, that's all I got to say about ARMS really. Maybe I'll have some more to say next week when I've actually played it. Maybe I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, it's the best game ever!"
Just the
Yeah,
tears of joy, just showering your screen. Like I can't even play it so good. So Street Fighter.
yeah.
I picked it up. I've really been enjoying it. I
hmm
haven't been able to get any answer out of you on if you're liking it or not liking it. You're like, we'll talk about it on the show. So this is you guys are getting the full scoop right here on Destinot's thoughts on Street Fighter 2. Oh, is it
Ultra Street Fighter
Ultra
2,
Ultra Super
the
Duper
final
Street
challengers.
Fighter 2 Turbo, the final
Yeah.
challengers version
Mega Remix Ultra
1.7
the
Turbo
bootleg
Action.
edition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so
How many
Ultra
names
Street
can this
Fighter
game
2.
have?
Oh my gosh,
How
all
many?
names. Yeah, so Ultra Street Fighter 2 came out last Friday, for the Switch. Let me give you a little backstory into this before I give the final verdict. So, Street Fighter 2 comes out. It's an arcade game, and I think unquestionably it took the world by storm.
Oh yeah.
At the time, there wasn't, because Mortal Kombat hadn't even come out yet. Um, I was very young, but I can't even remember there even really being another fighting game. There was some Neo Geo games; those were out. But I just felt like every time you walked into an arcade at that time, it was Street Fighter 2. You know, the line out the door was for Street Fighter 2. You know,
Yep.
And it was a game like any other fighting game. It's like at the time you couldn't even play. You couldn't even play the computer because everyone wanted to play. So it's like you automatically had to play against somebody else.
Nothing but quarters on the screen. I got
Yeah.
next.
So I think, and there might be people that disagree with this, but Street Fighter 2 was kind of what put Capcom on the world map. They had games before Street Fighter 2, but that was like, I would probably say they owe much of their success and fame to Street Fighter 2. It was massive for them. It was massive for just video games at that time. It was just, for video game culture, it was just huge. It's a huge game. And if you were, I want to say I was either 10 or 12 when it came out. And if you went to the arcades when you were 10 or 12 years old, you were playing Street Fighter 2. Whether that was your favorite game or not, you at least played it. You'd at least jump in there, pick probably the worst character, and then get your butt kicked. But just be like, "Oh, that game is so awesome," So that being said, obviously, it has a place in my heart as being, one of my favorite games of all time. As soon as it came out on the Super Nintendo, that was the first game we bought for it.
Oh yeah.
And it was just, I think I've told the story before. I was air quotes sick for a week. I had to stay home, and I played Street Fighter 2. Yeah. That's all I did for a week straight. Played Street Fighter 2. So that being said, I was insanely hyped for this version of the game on the Switch. I couldn't wait to play it. I was unable to pick it up Friday night. I forget what happened again, adulting or something. Trying to have a relationship with my wife or something. But I picked it up Saturday morning. And I think I came home and I instantly had to go do something. So I didn't actually get to play this thing until like Saturday night, and the only thing I could think of since Friday until Saturday night was playing this game. And I just have to say, um, it's kind of weird in a way to play something that you thought you'd like. It's it's just like it's Street Fighter 2. It's up-res. They got the well, it's not even up-res. You could say it's completely redone in a sense. They redid the like it looks more like a cartoon now as opposed to pixels. They updated the audio, which I think is hit and miss. Um, I think a lot of the music is good, but the sound effects, like they redid like Ryu's like voice. They redid some of the kick effects. Like I'm like, why? And some of them I think sound worse. Like the roundhouse kick for Ryu, for example. It's like a good solid kick. And you switch over to the new updated audio and it sounds super weak. I'm like, are you kidding? Like what? Why did that need to get messed with? Like so that's just the game in general. I wasn't, the visuals, take them or leave them. I kind of like them. Um, Audio, I'm not a fan of, but the real nail in the coffin for me, um, was the online. I had probably the worst experience with the online. Every single person that I played online had 2 bars for their online meter or whatever connectivity. So 2 bars, and I'm like, I don't live like out in the middle of nowhere. I live in a very large city, very close to LA, California, and I can't connect to anybody except for people that have 2 bars. Like, so I don't know if that's Capcom's issue or if that's a Switch issue as far as the network goes. If it's a Capcom issue, I say shame on Capcom because something that I think I don't want to say put Capcom on the map really, but I mean something that gave Capcom, I'm sure, multiple millions of dollars, I think really deserves to get like the A plus treatment. Um, I don't feel I was really getting that with this. And then again, if it's Nintendo's fault as far as the networking part goes, I still say shame on Capcom because you should have been like, look, this is our baby. You need to freaking make sure that your system is right before we're going to give you this. Before we're going to kind of give you this gem. So I just had a completely turned off experience because there's just so much lag. It's just so bad, in my opinion, online play. And sure, I could play the single player, but how many times am I going to play that? Isn't the whole point of Street Fighter to like play other people to see how good you are in like a
sure.
2-player fighting game? So that's my thoughts on it. I guess I was let down by what I was expecting, a very huge game. I guess the treatment it was going to get coming to the Switch. And yeah, the visuals are better than the original. And there's no problem lag wise as far as like, I think it's 60 frames per second I read. And it hits that. But the main problem with the lag and stuff like that is the online play.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, just I guess very disappointed with what we got.
Are you playing wired as well?
No, I don't have it wired.
So I've only played
But
it wirelessly.
it's literally right next to my router.
Oh yeah. The first match I played, I had no lag.
Mm-hmm.
The second match, there was some lag. The weird thing was, man, is I was like, I've played so much Street Fighter online that I was like used to it. Like that's how the lag was on the 360 when you could do.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, I mean, to the point that I didn't even really like. I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. There's some lag. But when you were like, is anybody else getting a really bad lag in our Discord? I was like, oh, I actually did get pretty bad lag on that one match. So I need to play it in my dock, wired.
Mm-hmm.
I've only done it wirelessly. I do like that feature that you can turn it on and have like somebody walk up to your game while you're playing arcade, and they can just join you. I think that's a pretty cool feature. They did that on the 360. And the other thing the 360 did is you would put quarters up on them to see who got next, which was also pretty cool. And then everybody could be in the chat watching the two guys going at it. So it really simulated the arcade experience. So we need to mess around with that a little bit. Maybe that will unsour your taste buds a little bit. The other thing,
maybe.
The other thing I did is I left the new graphics on, but I switched to the classic audio.
I did as well.
Yeah, because I was like Guile sounded horrible with the new audio. I was like, he's not even saying Sonic Boom. I don't even know what he's saying. Yeah, it was not good. So, and I even switched to the old graphics for a little bit, but then I had to go back to the new ones. So, first thing, playing it like portable without a D-pad.
Mm-hmm.
I have a theory about this because I was like, why am I enjoying this? I'm not using a D-pad and it's not an arcade stick. I'm like, this shouldn't be working as well as it is. But I think what it is I think the throw on the Switch analog sticks is so short that it can work better than like a 360 controller, or better than a PlayStation controller, or even better than the old Wii controllers or whatever, because it's such a short throw that you're not having to do, because it almost would feel like you have to exaggerate the moves a little bit, like much further than what they needed to, or they wouldn't. I think having that shorter throw, you can pull off the moves and it doesn't feel bad at all. Like, I was really surprised. My brother-in-law was here yesterday. We were doing the family barbecue, and we were sitting out having some drinks on our patio, and I pulled a stool up, pulled the Switch out, pulled the Joy-Cons off, put the wrist straps on, and we played head to head. Just like that with the controller sideways. It felt fine. I mean, I think you have to push the shoulder buttons a little harder than you probably would want to. So you couldn't do this for a long period of time. But man, if you sit down at a bar and you pulled this out, and the first guy that sat down next to you, or gal that sat down next to you, and you were like, hey, want to go for it? Like, I mean, it's pretty cool experience. And so, I played through on like the normal difficulty, and then I bumped it up one and played through that, and now I'm bumping up to the other one and trying to get some combos down, and just trying to get a feel for the game again, and because it's the one I played the most was the original Street Fighter 2. What was it called? Like World Champion or something like that?
Well, the original, like the one that the Super Nintendo version was based off of, that was called Street Fighter 2: The World Warrior.
Yeah, there you go.
And then Championship Edition was next, which allowed you to select the same characters. You could do like, Ryu versus Ryu.
Right.
And then they also included the 4 bosses.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Champion Edition. That was on
Sega.
I don't think it ever came out. That was on Sega. I don't think it came out for Super Nintendo or Nintendo. The next version was Turbo.
Yeah, that was Super Nintendo.
After that, I'm not 100% sure where it went.
Super Street Fighter,
but it might have been Super Street Fighter 2, which added a Cammy, Fei Long, DJ, and T-Hawk. From there, it might have gone Street Fighter 3, but there were also, I don't know if you remember in the arcade, like all the like hacked versions of Street Fighter 2, where like Ryu, depending on if you threw like what it was, like jab, like jab short or fierce was the punch. ones or something like that.
Yeah.
But like if you hit like fierce, the fireball would go up, and like if you hit strong was the middle one. Strong, like the fireball would go down, and then jab was just the straight. And then you could throw fireballs in midair and just be like, as you're falling down the screen, you're like, "Kadoo, kadoo, kadoo, kadoo." Like
Right.
it was like a hacked version, and like Guile's like sonic booms would like go up and down as they went across the screen, and it was just, I hated playing that version because it's just like, like what is this, dude? It's just like so like not even,
Nothing but spamming
it was like
super or fireballs the
yeah,
whole
it was like
time.
playing in the Matrix, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was multiple versions, but the one that this one is kind of based off of, it's like Super Street Fighter 2.
It is.
Yeah, they call it Ultra. I don't know if they're just calling it Ultra because of the addition of Ken and Ryu.
I don't know.
The
It's
evil
hilarious.
Ken and evil Ryu and violent Ken, because original Ken wasn't violent enough.
Right.
He just beat people up.
He was pacifist Ken.
Yeah, whereas
clearly
violent Ken, he's the real deal. He's the real violent one.
It was funny. A match.
Slightly perturbed Ken, he didn't make it into this game.
Right. It was funny fighting against Ken in just an arcade mode match because like he became a super predictable computer. Like he would throw 3 dragon punches in a row multiple times, and I would just do a low like a fierce a down fierce with Guile and sweep him every single time. And I was like, this is odd. Like there's such a pattern. Not every guy was like that, but he definitely was like that. So let me ask you this, because I mean, Street Fighter 2 for us is going to be tugging on the nostalgia strings, but would you have preferred to see a Street Fighter 5 versus the Street Fighter 2, you think?
Let's see, 5 is the most recent one, right? I've played 5 very briefly on the PS4 because it's only out on the PS4, and I think PC possibly. So I played it briefly a long time ago. It was okay.
Did you play
my
4?
issue. Yes, I played it on Xbox 360.
Did you like that one?
It was okay. Here's my issue. I understand that Street Fighter has it has its own meta, you know? The different Street Fighters had characters that were, they consider them like, like A rank, B rank, C rank, or there's sort of a ranking system, And in Street Fighter 2, you could say that they were pretty balanced, but a lot of times you could say like, oh, Ken and Ryu were maybe slightly overpowered. A lot of times people would play Guile. There wasn't a lot of people playing Zangief, or Chun-Li would get used a little bit. She got improved later on. But it's like and Blanca. Like Blanca wasn't considered like your like level, your A level character type of thing. He was kind of like, oh, second tier. Obviously you had some people that were good with him, but it was almost like, when you got that guy that's like super good, like, those guys when they go to competitions were always like, certain characters. And so it's like it's hard to beat someone. Even now, when you go to those Street Fighter tournaments or watch them online, a lot of people play as the same characters. And then you get that one guy who's like an oddball that plays as like this bizarre character. And then he ends up kind of winning because no one knows how to play against that guy, because it's so like random. Like you never fight that guy because no one ever plays him. So then when you do play him, that guy's like, can kick your butt because you don't know how to play against that character.
Right, like somebody picks Dalsim or something.
Yeah, so that's how it's been for me because I've always loved playing as Ryu. So Ryu got taken down quite a few notches. I'm not so sure about 3 because I haven't played 3 that much, but in Street Fighter 4 and then in Street Fighter 5, he really got taken down. So and he doesn't have a huge move set, but like I always like playing him, and it's like I feel like I'm playing with one hand behind my back because now I know that there's a ranking system and he's not towards the top. So I like playing those games. I do like playing them for the story. I haven't gone back and played Street Fighter V. Originally, it came with this very, very minimal story mode.
Yeah.
Where you would play a character and you'd literally only play 4 matches, and that was it for that character. It was like really like four rounds. Not even matches, rounds. It was like, wait, did I say that wrong? It was rounds. Like you'd play 4 rounds with a character, and that was their story.
That's odd.
And I'm like that's really not that there was a huge story in Street Fighter 2, but at least you would play through, like 8 matches, 9, 10 matches, So, yeah, I think there is a full-on story mode now for Street Fighter 5. So maybe I'll pick that one up again. 4 I thought was fun. I really like the art style of 4.
Same here.
Kind of had like that ink kind of like drawing ink thing, like really heavy lines.
Yeah.
Even though the characters were like 3D models.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I liked that game a lot. I played quite a bit of it. The what's the one? It's like Alpha 2 or whatever. It's like Street Fighter 3 Alpha 2.
Good.
That's the one that's on Super Nintendo, I believe. And
they were also on PlayStation.
Okay, so I remember that being one of the last games I saw in Toys R Us when I was. I mean, this is even like, and I kick myself for not buying it because that game is not cheap now. But I remember just seeing like massive copies of that game in like even in the early 2000s at Toys R Us, and I was just like, why didn't I buy all of these? They were like clearanced out to $10 each, And but have you ever seen that video where it's Ken versus Chun-Li, I believe? And he blocks every kick.
If you're talking about Daigo, yes. That's one of my favorite videos of all time on the internet. I'll go back and watch that once a year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we're talking about the same thing then, where he literally like blocks every kick. Like he's losing,
she does like a super.
And he has like no health, and he blocks everything and ends up winning the match.
Yeah, they had in those alpha games, I forget the exact name of it, but I think you had to press forward right as someone was attacking. And it would do that block, that tech block, I think it was called.
I see. But he was going high then low.
Yeah, he literally didn't just stand there and do like the block. Like he literally like tech blocked, and then like when Chun-Li did to do like a hide kick, he jumped and like blocks it.
Right.
And then comes back down and then blocks the last hit. Then he goes into his own super. And it was like, the thing I like about that video is it's not just the fact that, okay, these are both high level players. And he pulls off this almost impossible like move, which apparently I think in Street Fighter 5 there is that combo. And you have to go in and actually try to like replicate what that guy did.
Really?
And it's one of those like pass fail challenges. So you can't miss one. Even if you miss one, like it won't let you get your own super, and then you have to pull the super off at the end. So it's really cool that something that this guy did at a Street Fighter tournament is now in the game. And people can like replicate it. But no, the thing I like about it, like I was saying, not just the fact that it's 2 high skill leveled players. The crowd, not only when like, first of all, the guy that's playing Chun-Li, I think his name is Justin Long. He's also like both of those guys, Daigo and Justin Long, have been around forever, and they go back and forth beating each other, like winning at tournaments and whatnot. But when that guy Justin Long goes to pull off his Chun-Li super, like the crowd goes nuts because they're like, okay, he was the underdog like of that fight, so they're like, oh, he's gonna win. But then that guy Daigo goes into the blocks, and it's just like the crowd was already going nuts.
Right.
Now they're really going nuts. And then when he completely blocks them all and then pulls off his own super, like, I don't know, I almost get like an emotional response, dude, because like the crowd is just like, I don't think there was a single person in that place that wasn't screaming at the top of their lungs.
Yeah.
It's just, if you guys don't know what we're talking about or have never seen it online, here, let me jump over to YouTube real quick.
I'll throw it in the show notes for sure.
Yeah, let's throw. Like I said, it's Daigo. Like it's already coming up already. It's Daigo Street Fighters comes up like as soon as I type that in. Okay, it's not the first video, but it's a Street Fighter 3 tournament. Daigo's comeback is like the first video that comes up.
So cool. So cool.
Or even Street Fighter Justin versus Daigo. It's 3 minutes long. Actually, there's one of them that's 58 seconds long. So it's probably just the last bit, you know. So yeah, it's such an like just to see like somebody pull that off. Like I'm not that level at all. Even as much as I complain about the Street Fighter 2 on Switch being super laggy online, it makes me mad only because like there's times where it's unplayable for me. Like that game is so much about sometimes split second like moves.
Yeah.
You know, like that person jumps on you and they're going to do like a kick. And like you pull off like a a flash kick with Guile or like the dragon punch with Ken, like split second timing, and it feels really good. But you just can't do that when the game is like skipping frames. And then on the flip side, sometimes I've gotten perfect matches against people online, but now that I think about it, I'm like, were they super lagging, and I just totally wrecked them? So it's like vice versa. It's like I don't want to beat somebody like that. That's like stupid, because I know I don't like getting beat like that. Because I'm like, it's already lagging. I'm gonna try obviously, but it's not gonna happen. So
yeah, I mean, honestly, I was like I said, I was pleasantly surprised with the game. I did get it at a little bit of a discount. I got that Best Buy Gamer Club thing, and I also had like a $5 off coupon. So I ended up getting it for under $30 with tax. And so it would be hard for me to justify spending the whole 40 on it and feeling like I'm getting my money's worth, because I mean, it's one of those games that's like, I'm glad it's in my collection, so that anytime I feel like pulling it out or have somebody come over that, maybe I used to play with or whatever, it's like, hey, let's go head to head, it'll be fun. But it's definitely not going to be one of those games that's like always in the Switch. There's just no way.
Yeah. You brought up the price. $40, I was not worried about spending $40 on this game. I'm like, it's Street Fighter 2. This is going to be awesome. Having played it, and obviously, you guys just heard about my complaints about the game. Is $40 worth it? My opinion is, if you're on the fence about this, because you're like, I do like Street Fighter 2, but I don't know if I want to buy this. I would say, unless like us, yeah, of course, I like that it's in my collection. I like the fact that I can play it. I'm not a huge mobile gamer, so it's not like this thing's gonna go to like the park with me. So I'm not like, ooh, Street Fighter 2 on the go. So if you're like me and you mainly play at home, and also if you have other consoles, because from what I understand, this is very, very similar to the HD remake on the other systems.
360 and PS4 or PS3.
Yeah. So I mean, if you still have it on that, I don't know. I don't know if the inclusion of Violent Ken is enough to say like, yeah, I want to go drop $40 on this. So yeah, I guess I'm just disappointed with it, I guess.
Yeah, I get that. I
feel let down.
If you have a
I just
DS,
didn't think it would have happened,
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna say DS?
Yeah, I mean, I have Super Street Fighter on my DS, Super Street Fighter 2. You can get those older games on the Wii U as well, and I think even on the old Wii Shop. But if you just want to scratch that itch for like $5, you could definitely do that. But that's excluding any online play or anything like that. Like, this just doesn't feel like a full package. And I think even those games when they came out on the 360, man, I want to say it was like at most $19.99.
Yeah. There are cheaper ways of getting the game if you want it. Yeah, like I said, I don't know. I guess I felt like, dude, this is Street Fighter 2. This is Capcom's baby. This is like their crown jewel. I guess it didn't live up to my own hype. I guess I was just expecting more. So
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a pretty plain package, honestly. And there's not a lot of, and everything that's added kind of feels a little tacked on, which is just
Yeah,
sad because you'd hope they'd put a lot more into it. That being said, the controls are tight. Everything feels
yeah,
pretty good. It feels great with a D-pad. I really like it with the sticks on the Switch itself. Not so much with the Pro controller and the stick.
really.
Not really, but the D-pad's
I
there
didn't
for
like. I
that.
didn't like the D-pad. I didn't like the D-pad on the Pro controller.
So the one thing that I noticed on the Pro controller is that the right stick kind of covers the buttons a little bit, covers your A and your Y and your B and your B and your Y button. It's a
Oh,
it's a
really?
it's a little bit tight, is all. Like for doing. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's a minimal complaint,
I
but
see what you're saying.
um, but I still
Yeah,
enjoyed it, and I wonder if the one thing the D-pad feels a little flat. Like when I say flat,
yeah.
I mean it feels like it's not up away from the body of the controller enough. Like it could be up a little higher. Is that kind of what you're getting from it?
Yeah, it just I did not get the same feeling that I guess I remember from the Super Nintendo controller.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I ended up finding myself using the joystick on the Pro controller. I did try it handheld, and it was perfectly fine. I got the feeling that the moves were I want to say looser. I don't know if that's the right term because I felt like they were just easier to pull off sometimes.
Hmm.
They weren't you didn't I felt like maybe you didn't have to be as precise, which maybe that's why it feels good on these controllers, on these sticks. Maybe it's like you don't have to 100% hit that move to pull it off. That's just the feeling I got when I first started playing it. I was like, I wonder if that's why it feels good on here because it feels like you can do the move every time. But I wonder if they loosen the tolerances of doing the move. So I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I guess just mixed feelings on it.
Yeah, I got you.
Don't care about the way of Hodor. I don't know what that mode is. The first the first person.
Yeah, not even gonna
I haven't
try it
even
myself.
tried it yet. Haven't even tried it.
Yeah,
I have. I tried. Did you try the 2 versus 1 mode?
no.
I tried it where like it was like me and a computer opponent versus the computer,
Yeah.
and it put you can pick. I forget if you can pick the enemy, but it put me. I think I picked me. I was like Ryu and Ken versus, and it made me fight M Bison.
Okay.
The thing that kind of sucks is the two people share a health bar. So and then you got the computer that has a health bar. So the computer on my team kept jumping in there and getting kicked and losing our health. So it's like you could not get scratched and you're gonna lose because the computers. But you can do two people, actual people versus the computer, which would be cool for like couch co-op type of thing. Um, yeah, that mode I just barely touched. Um, they do have like, did you see the art book that's in there? It's
I saw the
I guess
tab
it
for it. I just didn't click through it.
yeah, I guess it's scans of a book that's out of print. That was released in Japan. So, that was cool. I looked through it. I remember seeing a lot of images that I've seen in magazines, like old Game Pro magazines way back in the day. Um, so that was cool to see that. But other than that, like if they could get the online function under control, I would definitely pump my opinion of the game way up. I feel like that's kind of the end game, like if you're gonna play the single player, fine, play it, it's fun to just mess around with. But ultimately I want to play other people online. So that was just a huge kick in the nether region for me.
Yeah, we'll have to get some games in over the next week to see if that, just to see
Yeah,
what
I'd like
it's
to see
like with two
yeah, I'd like
decent
to see
internet connections and stuff. So
excuse me. Yeah, I'd like to see how that goes because who knows? Maybe I was playing people like in Illinois or something. Maybe nobody in California bought the game.
Yeah, that was weird for me too when I went into Best Buy and I was like, "Hey, can I get a copy of this?" And it was nowhere to be found in the store. And the guy's like, "Let me check the back." And then it wasn't there. He's like, "Let me check the very back." And he comes back with a stack of them in his hand. And I'm like,
Weird.
he handed them to me. He said, "Hey, these should have been put out." Like, so like nobody was even asking for it or anything, but whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe people get it at GameStop or whatever, but
Yeah, online. I'm sure there's a lot of people doing like what you do with the Amazon.
the Amazon Prime. Yeah. It's a good deal. It's a
Yeah.
good deal. Well, hey man, this has been fun talking about Street Fighter 2 almost the entire time.
Yeah.
Arms was, hopefully next week we'll get to hear a little bit more of your thoughts on Arms. And,
yeah, I'll get some games in, definitely.
A little bit of update on Street Fighter to see if it got any better for you. Guys, I know last week we said we were going to have Space Cat Universe join us, but Destinat was sick. And she actually was super tired last Thursday, but we're going to do it this Thursday. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, it's already Wednesday. We'll be live at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with Space Cat Universe. And it's going to be a blast. She's a Mario Maker streamer. She's a lot of fun. And so I do want to say thanks to everybody that's hanging out with us. Alka-Seltzer-Tini and I'm not even going to try and pronounce the new guy's name. I'm sorry. Juanajua, maybe. We'll see what he says. But thanks for hanging out with us. We do really appreciate it. Destinat, where can we find you on the interwebs?
Don't look for me playing Street Fighter 2 because it'll probably lag out. You can find me on Twitter at DestinaTLC and doing this show 9 p.m. Pacific time on twitch.tv/The Loot Cave. Also at 7 o'clock if you want to hear Destiny. And Destiny 2's out, so we're all excited for that.
It's not out. It's only out in your mind.
Only in my mind's eye. Once upon a dream.
It'll be here eventually, September 8th. Guys, you can find me on Twitter at N64Josh. You can find me on Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. N64Josh. Just look for me. I'm having a ton of fun on Instagram, posting at least trying to do daily Nintendo Power covers. And so that's kind of fun. Just every now and again getting a few comments from people that are like, "Oh, I love that game," or that kind of stuff. So if you want to see some stuff like that, it was really cool this last week or yesterday at the during our family barbecue. I have 2 Koopa shells that are footballs, and so we tossed the old pigskin Koopa shell around. That's what my brother-in-law. He's like, "Are you serious?" Right? I'm like, because I was like, green or red. He's like, red. So I'm like, oh, this is the easy one to catch. It always goes right to your target. It's no problem. So that's what we tossed, and then all the black rubbed off of it because it's not very expensive and not very well made. So, but yeah, guys, if you don't mind leaving us a quick review on iTunes or whatever podcast, however you listen to the show, if there's a way to review it, we'd really appreciate it. It would be very helpful and help get more eyes on the show. We want to keep this thing going. We made it into the top 150. And then we kind of came back out. So if you guys want to help us get there, the reviews really help with that, as well as just sharing the show with your friends. We really appreciate it. And again, thanks to everybody that was here with us live. Thank you guys for listening throughout the week. Feel free to seriously hit us up. Like if you ever want to chat, we do have a Discord that we talk Nintendo stuff and play some games with each other when we have time and use the voice chat in there. So you're more than welcome to join. There will be a link in the show notes, which you will find at thelootcave.com/NPC22. Because that's right. It is episode 22. So thank you guys for listening. And we are going to have an E3 show very soon as well. Captain Logan's asking in the chat there. So we're going to wrap this up. If you guys are hanging out live and you want to keep hanging out, I'm going to fire up the stream on twitch.tv/N64Josh and hang out with you guys there while I get this stuff uploaded. So we'll We'll see you guys there. Take it easy.